What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Frank Warren, Tony Bellew. Get this. Tony Bellew called Bellew by Tyson Fury's promoter and Furious Rant. I don't know what that is. That's some kind of British term. But anyway, let's continue. Frank Warren has slammed Tony Bellew this week after the former cruiserweight world champion criticized the 70-30 split that has been agreed for Tyson Fury to face Usyk. Former Usyk opponent Bellew was one of the many in the sport who voiced the opinion that the split was unfair to the Ukrainian, who holds 3 of the 4 belts that will be up for grabs if the fight is finalized. But Warren laughed off Bellew's comments before poking fun at his recent mix-up when slating Tyson Fury for fighting only twice a year. The Queensberry boss also came up with a rather unflattering nickname for the Liverpool native when speaking to IFL TV. He said, What do I care what Tony Bellew says? He's always got something to say. Remember, Tyson only fights once every 182 and a half days a year, so he's entitled to get paid. I'd be all right if he was out twice a year. Who cares what Tony Bellew or something says? I mean, who gives a toss? It's insignificant. These guys are the best. These are Hall of Famers, great fighters. Who gives a monkey's what he says? You mean to say if it was him, he wouldn't be saying he wants the lion's share? Do me a favor. Okay. Well, let me counterpunch. I remember when, Frank Warren, Frank Warren's Queensberry and, Tony Bellew's with the Zone. So, those guys are supposed to bump heads. They're supposed to bump heads like this. So, I mean, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day, honestly, because, I think when you do respond to that, he was asked, so you got to keep it a buck. Frank Warren was asked what he felt about Tony Bellew's comments. But obviously, Tony Bellew's comments really meant something, or they were important. Because when you do reply about someone, he spent a lot of time, hey, if he was in that position, wouldn't he want the same thing? But then nobody else would be that selfish, honestly. So for him to say, well, would you take that? And it's like, well, the thing is, would he take it? But another thing is, would you really offer that to a fighter, especially a unified champion? And I feel that Frank Warren, he will get ridiculed for this. And I think, he will cringe every time somebody asks him a question like this. But he should cringe, because that was a bullshit offer. The significance of it all, Alexander Usyk took it. That's all that really matters at this point. I don't give a shit if it was 80-20. The whole thing is he took it. So you can't get mad or at someone's opinion on how they feel about the split. That's just their opinion. So if you can't handle someone's opinion, then you have to go off on them and do this and say this and give them a nickname and this, that, and the other. That means you're bothered by someone else's opinion. And if you're that bothered, maybe you should consider how bad that really was. Because people's opinion, if everybody thinks it's fucked up, but maybe you are the only one that has the problem. You and whoever you represent, which is Tyson Fury. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Frank Warren lashing out at Tony Bellew. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!